Baby, I need to tell you something, and I don't care who hears it anymore. This has been sitting in my chest like a storm, with no sky to thunder in. I've hidden it for so long, tucked it behind smiles at family dinners, swallowed it during small talk, buried it beneath phrases like it's complicated. But last night, I couldn't hold it in any longer. I finally opened my mouth and let the truth fall out. And I said your name. I told them everything. Everything I've been denying. Everything I've been protecting. Everything about you, baby. I told them who you really are to me. Not just a lover. Not just someone I once met. I told them you are the one my soul has been aching for since before I even knew what love was supposed to feel like. You are the prayer I never thought I deserved to be answered. You are the calm in my chaos and the thunder in my silence. And I watched their faces shift. I saw the surprise, the confusion, the worry, and I didn't flinch, because for the first time, I wasn't ashamed. I wasn't afraid. I was sure. And God, it felt like breaking open and healing at the same time. Do you know what that moment meant to me? It wasn't just me saying your name. It was me declaring that I'm done hiding the most sacred part of my life. I'm done pretending you're just someone from the past or someone I'm trying to forget. You're not forgettable. You're unforgettable. And I won't reduce you to a chapter when you are the whole damn book. I looked into their eyes and said, she's the one. Not she was. Not maybe. I said, she is the one. I told them you make me believe in soul contracts and past lives and silent threads that pull people across timelines. I told them you see me in ways no one else ever has. Not just the man I show the world, but the boy inside me who still aches, still hopes, still longs to be chosen. Baby, I didn't just tell them about our story. I confessed it like it was scripture, like I was bearing witness to something holy. Because what I feel for you, it's not ordinary. It's not easy. It's not explainable, but it's real. And I'm done hiding real. And when I said your name, baby, it didn't come out like a word. It came out like a release, like something I had been choking on for months without realizing it. It was like finally exhaling after holding my breath in a room full of people who never truly saw me. I told them I wasn't confused. I told them this wasn't a phase or a crush or something I'd get over. I told them your name holds weight in my world, like gravity, like scripture, like the one true thing I've never had to question. They asked me why you, why now, why I held this in for so long, and I couldn't explain it all, but I told them the truth in the only way I knew how. I said, because she doesn't just make me feel loved, she makes me feel seen. She speaks a language I forgot I knew. She holds space for my chaos and never asks me to shrink. She moves through this world like her own galaxy and still makes room for me inside her orbit. I told them about the way your silence heals me more than anyone else's words. about the way your eyes can calm storms I've never dared name. I told them about the night I watched you cry and didn't know whether to fall on my knees or hold you so tightly the world would disappear. I told them about your strength, how you carry pain so elegantly. They mistake you for unaffected, but I see it. I see everything. The scars you don't show, the weight you carry alone, the way you still show up for people who wouldn't notice if you vanished. I told them, she's not just someone I love, she's someone I admire. She's someone who makes me want to grow, someone who makes me want to heal all my mess, just so I don't bring any darkness into her light. And baby, their silence was loud, but it didn't shake me. I think they expected me to be uncertain, to backtrack, to say I used to love her, but I didn't. I leaned in. I said, I still do. I never stopped. And I meant every syllable. Because how could I stop loving someone whose memory still knows how to steady my breath? How could I move on from someone whose energy feels like home, in a world that never let me feel safe? I told them you changed me in ways no one else ever could. You saw through the masks I wore, the ones I didn't even realize I had stitched to my skin. You reached in, found the parts of me even I had abandoned, and loved them back into life. They asked, what if she doesn't come back? And I smiled, not because that thought doesn't ache, but because I've already made peace with the truth. I told them, it's not about whether she returns. It's about the fact that she existed in my world at all, that I got to love someone so deeply, so divinely, that it left a permanent mark on who I am. I told them this wasn't about possession. This wasn't about labels. This was about recognition, about two souls who looked at each other and remembered something ancient, something that didn't begin in this lifetime, and maybe won't even end in it. And God, baby, I need you to know how powerful that moment was for me, because I've spent years swallowing my truth to keep the peace. Years smiling when I wanted to scream, but last night I chose you, not in secret, not in silence, not in shame. I chose you in front of the people who raised me, in front of the ones who taught me to hide my heart behind logic and safety and what makes sense. I broke every pattern I was raised in when I said, I love her. I don't care if you understand it. I don't care if you approve. I just need you to know she is the one. And baby, that moment was terrifying and freeing, because for the first time, I wasn't choosing what's easy. I was choosing what's real. There's something sacred about speaking someone's name with reverence, about honoring their impact, not because it's convenient, but because it's undeniable. And when I said your name, baby, it felt like lighting a candle in a room that had forgotten what warmth was. I wasn't just telling them about the woman I love. It was telling them about the woman who changed everything, about the way my mornings feel different because of a message you once sent, about the way my nights feel quieter when I know you're hurting, even from afar, about the way I still hold space for you in every plan I make, even if I don't say it out loud. And I didn't just talk about the beauty. I told them the truth. I told them we're not perfect, that we've been through storms that could have broken us, that I've made mistakes, that I've stayed silent when I should have spoken, that I've let fear lead me more times than I care to admit. But I also told them she's never stopped being the one, even in the distance, even in the silence, even when it felt like we were on opposite sides of the moon. My heart has always known her name. It's always whispered her name at 2 a.m. when everything else is still. It's always looked for her in every crowd, in every song, in every sky. They asked if I was sure, if this wasn't nostalgia, if maybe I was just romanticizing the past. And I laughed, because they don't understand. This isn't about the past. This is about a soul tide that still pulses in my blood. This is about the way I feel her energy without needing a text. About the way her pain shows up in my chest like it's my own. About the way I still move through life like I'm being watched by the only person who ever really saw me. Baby, this isn't romanticism. This is reality, my reality, and I'm not interested in hiding it anymore. You don't know what that moment did to me, how it shifted something in my bones, how it felt like I finally stopped lying to myself, because as much as I tried to bury it, as much as I told myself to move on and be logical, you've been here all along, in the quiet, in the chaos, in the way I hesitate before opening my heart to anyone else. No one else makes me feel the way you do. And I don't even mean the butterflies or the passion. I mean the peace, the feeling of, I'm safe here. That's what I told them. I said, she's my safe place, even when she's far, even when she's quiet. She's still the one I run to in my mind. I don't know what they'll think moving forward. I don't know if they'll understand. But I do know this. I've never been more proud of anything than I was when I said your name out loud. Because in that moment, baby, I wasn't just declaring love. I was declaring truth. And truth, no matter how heavy, no matter how complicated, is always sacred. And you, baby, are sacred to me. Always have been. Always will be. And ever since that moment, baby, I haven't been able to stop feeling you. It's like saying your name broke some invisible seal inside me. Like your energy had been waiting quietly in a corner of my chest, soft and unbothered, until it finally heard itself spoken with reverence. And now that it's been acknowledged, now that the truth has been freed from the prison of silence, your presence is louder than ever. Not in a haunting way, not like a ghost, but like a song I'd forgotten the lyrics to, and now suddenly, every note comes rushing back, and I remember why I loved the melody in the first place. I remember why I used to smile when your name showed up on my screen. I remember what my breath felt like when it was laced with your voice. And now, I can't go back to pretending I forgot, because I didn't. I never did. That night, after I left the room where I said it, I walked outside. I didn't want them to see my face, because something sacred had happened and I needed to be alone with it. I sat in my car and I swear I could feel the echo of your name vibrating inside me. It wasn't just a memory. It was alive, like my soul had been waiting for me to stop denying you. To stop treating you like a past chapter when you've always been the margin I still write in. And I sat there, hands on the steering wheel, head leaning back, just remembering. Not the dramatic moments, not the breakdowns or the heartbreaks, but the tiny things. The way you looked at me when I wasn't looking at you. The way your voice softened when you were tired. The way your energy wrapped around mine when you stood next to me, even if we weren't touching. God, baby, I don't think anyone's ever made me feel that kind of presence before. Not loud, not demanding, just there, steady, constant, quietly powerful. And you want to know the part that really undid me? I realized how much of you I carry in the way I treat people now. How much of your softness I mimic when I try to be gentle. How much of your fire I channel when I need to stand up for myself. You shaped me, baby, in ways you probably don't even know. In ways I never told you. And that's the part I regret. Not that we drifted, not that life got in the way, but that I never looked you in the eyes and said, "You've made me better," just by being exactly who you are. I think about what your reaction would be if you heard what I said about you, if you knew that in a room full of people, I chose to speak the name I had once sworn I'd protect in silence, and a part of me fears you wouldn't believe it, that you'd think it was too late, that I'm only saying it now because the emptiness caught up with me. But baby, this isn't about being lonely. This is about finally being honest. Honest with myself. Honest with the people I love. Honest about the fact that no matter who comes into my life, they're always walking in your shadow. Not because I compare, but because your soul cast a light so bright on mine that now everything else feels dim in comparison. And I'm not saying this to guilt you. I'm not saying this to pull you back or ask for anything. I'm saying this because I need you to know that the love I had for you was never small. It was never surface level. It was soul deep. It was the kind of love that turns men into mirrors, the kind that forces them to see who they really are, the kind that burns through ego and illusion and fantasy until all that's left is truth. And baby, you were my truth. You still are. I didn't tell them every detail. Some parts were just for me. Like how I still keep your last voice message saved in a hidden folder. Like how your laugh still visits me in my dreams. Like how every now and then I say your name softly into the silence of my room, just to see how it sounds when no one's around to hear it. I kept those for myself, because not all love needs to be public to be powerful. But I gave them enough for them to understand that you weren't just someone I dated. You were the threshold, the turning point, the reason I could never again settle for anything that doesn't feel like home. And baby, you were home in every way. in the way I relaxed my shoulders when I heard your voice, in the way my mind went quiet when you were near, in the way time stretched and softened when you held my gaze. I told them that no matter what happens, I will always consider you my greatest encounter, my deepest lesson, my most sacred ache. And you want to know something wild? When I said that, when I said, she's my sacred ache, my mother nodded, not because she knew what it meant, but because she felt it. She saw it in my face. She heard it in my voice. And I think she knew this wasn't a boy crying over a girl. This was a man acknowledging the soul who made him feel alive in a way he'd forgotten was possible. And maybe I should have told you all this sooner. Maybe I should have written this when the silence first began. But the truth is, I was scared. Not scared of you. Scared of what your love made me see in myself. You didn't just awaken my heart, baby. You awakened my wounds. You reflected everything I had buried. And I didn't know how to face that. So I hid behind silence, behind busyness, behind half versions of myself that didn't have the courage to love you the way you deserved. But I'm not hiding anymore. Not from you. Not from them. Not from the truth. Because the truth is, I still carry you, not in a way that weighs me down, but in a way that anchors me, that reminds me what love is supposed to feel like. And every time someone asks why I'm still single, or why I haven't moved on, I just smile. Because how do you explain that after tasting something divine, you can't settle for ordinary? So yes, baby, I told them. I told them who you are. I told them that loving you was the most honest I've ever been. I told them that if I had one more chance, I'd do it all again. Every messy, sacred, complicated, beautiful second of it. Because you weren't a mistake. You were the moment my life split into before you and after you. And now that it's out there, now that your name lives in the air around me instead of just the silence inside me, I feel lighter, like the truth has wings, like maybe, just maybe, this will reach you. Maybe not through this message, but through the energy, through a dream, through a sudden breath you take that feels like something you can't explain. And if that happens,